Multi-level marketing, getting healthy. What does any of that have to do with adoption? Well, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But for some of you might know my entire full story and how I started RG and all of that. For others of you, I actually was working full time and started this business nights and weekends. And I hated my full-time job and I wanted to get out of it, but I couldn't quit. And so, long story short, I was also feeling really shitty about myself health wise and all of that. So I joined a multi-level marketing company, a direct sales company, whatever you want to call it, as a way for me, one, to get healthier, because I joined because I wanted the 30-day detox products cheaper. And two, as a way for me to make a little bit of money while I was trying to grow this business. And it worked. Both of them worked. I got much healthier. I dropped a lot of weight. I felt the best I ever have in my life. I started making money. And because of the networking and the personal growth and the connections, I also started building RG Adoption Consulting, and to the point where I was able to quit my full-time job. So why in the world would I even bring this up? Well, because what I put out into the world manifests. I have to work it if I tell you all about it. So I have started getting back onto the wagon with protein shakes and trying to eat healthier and kind of doing at least a good modified 30-day detox. It's Arbonne, by the way, if anybody wants to know what I'm talking about. And I'm also a client of some of my former clients who are also in the multi-level marketing business. And many people have raised some money as they're going through the adoption process or just building a side business. So I am not one to poo-poo all of those other businesses because usually they have amazing products. How is everybody this Friday? Hello, I'm Becca Gruenspan, founder and CEO of RG Adoption Consulting. And as some of you know, every Friday I come on and I just rant. I usually kind of look back to see what are some of the questions and what are some of the, my mom's calling. Sorry, I was paused because my mom called. What are some of the issues? What are some of the questions? What are people posting about from the past week? And I come here and I talk about them. Hopefully it's helpful. If you have questions, ask questions because I will answer those too. Sorry, I have to see if there's any chat going on. Okay. If you are here, I am actually going to oh, no, hide. I didn't want to put that. But if you are watching me from Facebook, if you could please, if you didn't do this last time, click this link that I just posted, and that will help me. If you are going to chat, let me know who you are. Otherwise, I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user. Okay, so what are some of the issues? Last week, I talked a little bit about fall-throughs, adoption fall-throughs, which happens and happened to some of our clients in the past week, which sucks. And we continue to have matches, which doesn't suck at all. So that's exciting. We had an adoption. We have somebody else with their baby right now, I think waiting for mama to sign. So things are happening kind of with everything. But we talked a little bit about fall-throughs. And one of the things I didn't mention is how important it is to give yourself time, if that happens to you, to grieve, because it is a loss. Sorry, my dog is making a lot of noise behind me chewing a bone, so I hope you all can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. So giving yourself time to grieve and experience your feelings. Punch in a wall if you have to punch in a wall. Get angry, get sad, feel them so that you can move through them and move forward to the next step. Hold on, I'm going to move my dog's bone because it's really loud. One sec. Oh, good. Come here, Akila. Can you do that over here? Sorry. All right, on the carpet. Oh, you can have your bone, just not on the hardwood right there. She's looking at me like, what you talking about, Willis? Some of you might be too young for that. But anyways, giving yourself time to grieve, take a beat, take a breath before moving on. Now, for some of you, at the same time, I have also seen people feel like they are ready to move forward right away and get a situation presented to them right away, sometimes that next day. And only you can decide if you are ready to move forward, if you can muster up the strength and kind of look at it introspectively and make whatever you want to make out of it, and can present. Sometimes that's a really amazing thing as well. But it was worth mentioning. Also, what happens between a match and the birth? That question came up. So what happens between getting matched all the way till the birth, or I would even say signing? So what happens typically is that once you are matched with an expectant mom, the agency or attorney that you match through will likely set up a call for you to have with the expectant mom. And typically somebody from the agency is on that call with you. You know, it's for your protection and for her protection. I think I talked about this not too long ago, but so you'll have this phone call. Depending on how much time is between the match and the birth, you may decide to visit in person. So that might mean that you are traveling to another state to get to know each other. If you have time, I would always offer it. And if she says yes, or she's asking for it, do it. It can only help strengthen your relationship and help her feel more comfortable with you, and vice versa. So sometimes there's a visit. Now, I always recommend, and then again, depending on how much time, you might have some phone calls, you might have direct contact, things might go through the agency. Every agency works that a little bit different. There's pros and cons to both. And then, so you might be developing your relationship through text. If you do have a long wait and you're matched and something's coming up, like a birthday or a holiday, or you just want to send something because you think she's struggling, that's not a bad idea. That's kind of a nice thing to do once you get to know her. Send her kind of a care package. Nothing too extravagant, just something that says, I'm listening to you, I care, and you know, we just want to show our support to you. Hey, Simone. So there's that. And then she's either going to be scheduled for a C or she's going to go naturally. Now, if she is scheduled, you can determine whether or not you want to go up that day or maybe the day before, if she is open to visiting with you or having lunch with you, or maybe you go out to breakfast. If she wants you in the room, if she doesn't want you in the room, these are all decisions that will be made between her and her social worker. Maybe you might be involved in some of those decisions as well. But so if she has a scheduled C, sometimes that makes it really easy because you know exactly when to book things. Although it's never for sure thing. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And if she's going naturally, honestly, so many people take that kind of guesstimate of a birth date and decide they're going to fly out a week early just to make sure they're there. And I really can't recommend that you do that. You could end up being out of state for over a month. I've seen people sitting, just wishing they could go home because they were there 3 weeks before the birth because she went late, and so many things can happen. Or what happens if you go up there, it's 3 weeks and she gives birth and then she decides to parent. So I really recommend waiting until she gets admitted to the hospital and goes into labor, and that her plan going in to give birth is still to place with you. Hi, Diana. Nice to see you. Any questions about that? Is that making sense? So then you are there at the hospital. And with COVID, you may be able to get into the hospital. You may not. If you are in a couple, one of you might be able to go visit. Who knows? Every hospital is still different and it changes day to day still. So just go with the flow. I know how easy that is rolling off my tongue. Yeah, easy for you to say, Becca, just go with the flow. Shit happens. I mean, things get complicated. You get nervous. You don't like something. You're not getting information. All of that will probably happen. And that's okay. There is nothing you can do except, go with the guidance of your agency, maybe your consultant. Just try to go with the flow. That's my best piece of advice. And then typically after the birth, you might be sitting with with the birth mother. The birth mom may have placed the child in the nursery, so you might be in the nursery. If that's the case, I would always try to go visit with her if she's open to it. Things can feel awkward. Always kind of lean more on how you can be helpful to her. Can you bring her a meal? Can you bring her a drink? Does she need anything? Likely paperwork, relinquishments won't be signed for a few days. Every state is different. So there's so many different scenarios that could happen between the birth and signing. I'm not going to get into that all today, but I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of what happens. I forgot to mention a big one. After you get matched, before you have a phone call, typically you are going to receive a contract and an invoice from the agency. And most likely you're going to have to get that all sent back and paid for before they will schedule a call with you. Okay, so there's that. I don't want to forget to mention that. Okay, so another thing I wanted to mention. We're going to take a little break here. First of all, who's a kombucha drinker? I'm trying this new one called Happy. I think we had a post on Instagram the other day saying, like, what's your go-to pick-me-up song? And one of the choices was Because I'm Happy. And if I planned ahead, I would have had that music. But that's good. And the other thing I was going to say was, speaking of getting healthy, I just rejoined Club Pilates, which not a commercial. They clearly are not paying me to mention them, but I used to be a member when I lived in Chicago, and when the pandemic started, they closed down, and I haven't been back into a gym since. And so I went to my first free class here in Cleveland and joined, and just cannot wait to hop on that bandwagon too, because if I'm trying to get healthy, I'm just going to go all in. And part of it is being in a room working out with other people who feels me on that one. Have you guys gone back to the gym? All right. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I had this whole thing pulled up on my phone, but I have to go live on Instagram on my phone, so I can't read it. But there is a thing, and I saw someone post about it, called post-adoption depression, kind of like postpartum depression. Has anyone heard of it? Does anyone know anyone who's experienced it? Let me know. Dave also, what did you say? Dave also just joined back this week. Whoop, whoop. Let's get healthy, Dave. I love it. Postpartum, post-adoption depression. Simone said she experienced it. It's a thing, you guys, and nobody talks about it. And so if it happens to you, you feel like you're a monster. In fact, the article I was just reading says many women feel like they're monsters if they're feeling this sort of way. It happens, they're estimating about 11 to 12% of the time, of 11 to 12% of women experience post-adoption depression. And it's all the symptoms of regular depression, not feeling happy, not wanting to get out of bed, all the typical signs of depression. And one thing they mentioned, because a lot of people are reluctant to go get help and to talk to somebody, is that emotion that you're feeling, those feelings can rub off on your child. So you don't want them to be, I can't even think of any words, but you know what I'm talking about. You don't want them to start feeling that too and having that manifest in them. So if that is something that might happen to you, I highly recommend that you get the help that you need. And if you are working with a consultant, do not be ashamed, or your agency or your attorney, never be ashamed to ask for somebody who is familiar with adoption, an adoption competent therapist. But the other thing is, a lot of women feel like they should have this instant love and this instant connection and this instant attachment, and that's not always the case. And when that does happen, you might think adoption was not the right thing for me. But that's because you are experiencing post-adoption depression. So I just wanted to bring it up. I was going to read parts of this article, but I can't access it now. But I wanted to bring it up so that you're aware. Hopefully, if you are somebody who's still on your journey, that will not happen to you. But if it does, know that you are still a normal mom who just adopted and are experiencing some normal reactions, and to get the help that you need for that. And then one other thing that came up is we've been seeing a lot of situations with really long, excruciating matches. So what about those? Are they good? Are they bad? Is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? As consultants, we do not love long matches. We would like to see every single one of our clients get a stork drop or a walk-in or an agency pick I'd rather have the expectant mother pick. I shouldn't have said that. But basically what I'm saying is we would love to see it go quickly. And we would love to see it go quickly for a number of reasons, which is the less likelihood there is for it to end in a fall through. Now, that's not to say quick matches cannot end in fall throughs. In fact, I think 2 of the fall throughs we had this week, expectant moms were due really quickly. They had just matched and the expectant mother decided to parent. I actually, if that's going to happen, that's the way I would like to see it happen. The fact that an expectant mother realized that they could parent and they could have the resources, and hopefully the agency was supporting that. Although it never feels good for anyone. But so we would love to see short matches. However, with long matches, a beautiful relationship can form. And imagine going through the entire pregnancy with the child that is meant to be yours and their first mother, and being able to talk about that with your child. That's so beautiful. And long matches have just as much of a likelihood of it going through at the end than not. However, if it doesn't, you've waited so long, you've got your heart set on it. There's all this time that went by, and not only, I think it hurts a lot more emotionally and the financial loss might be more significant with long matches. So there's definitely pros and cons. There is no way for us to say, do it, don't do it. You have to kind of feel it in your gut. And who are you as a person? Are you somebody that can hang on that long and function every day of your life for the next 7 months? If you're somebody who is like, yep, I love the idea of just riding this out with the expectant mother and getting to know her and being involved if she lets you, then great. I mean, that's another piece of it too. Is she going to let you be involved, or are you going to kind of be in the dark for 7 months, 6 months? So weigh all this out. Like, look at who you are, look at what is the situation, how open and involved does she want you to be? Is she wanting a really open relationship? And just kind of go with your gut. So those are some of the things that came up this week. We talked about allowing yourself time to grieve. We talked about post-adoption depression. We talked about what happens between the match and the birth. And then we talked about long versus short waits. If you have any questions at all about adoption or the adoption roadmap, meaning what that looks like as you go through your journey, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are here to guide and support you and educate you however we can. Stay on your adoption roadmap. If you veer off, that's okay. Do what you need to do to get back on and keep moving forward. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday, same time, same place. Bye for now.